Guys, are Helldivers an endangered species? This is the cow's opinion. Music! We ain't got none. Sorry. But welcome back. It's July. It's hot, except for the fact that hopefully Texas is going to get some relief next week. We're getting close to that 4th of July grilling time. And if you feel like the need to amp up with your buddies, log online, and kill some bugs and bots, well, Helldivers could really use you. Because recently, 90% of their players have stopped playing. And because this game was so amazing and was getting so much popular news, I want to talk about it today. I mean, this game had memes, it had nerd rock, it had some really great songs from Jonathan Young. Find him on YouTube, check him out, he's really cool. But we're not talking about as this article from Forbes, we're not talking about other games like Starfield, which has had a lot of people start playing too as they complete it. Paul Tassi, a senior contributor here to Forbes, not the usual place for information, but this was a really well-written article that I really liked, so I wanted to talk about it today. Helldivers 2, which was meant to be Sony's huge intro into the live space, as he notes. Now, on PC or Steam, it hit 458,000 plus concurrent players 2 weeks after launch. We got it right here. So here's their launch. And look, that's amazing for a game. That is word of mouth pushes it. It goes up over the 2 weeks. And then it kind of plateaus a bit. Then as we head into March, huge deep. Then it goes up as a patch and new stuff is added. And then it's been almost entirely a nice, steady decline. There's a little bitty bump right here, but nope, we are really low. Currently, they said it is about 44,000 and change players. It sits outside the top 10. It's 58 in top sellers. And that the most Twitch stream of the game at the moment he checked was 56. Now, of course, any time of day you're going to have different players playing, but for a hugely popular game, 56 on any period in a 24-hour notice is bad. Now, as the article goes on, this is what you know as a live service game. It's not supposed to be you buy it and that's the money. They want you to keep playing. You can't finish it. They add new gear, they add cosmetics, they add major orders, they add new fronts in the war, they add all kinds of stuff. Why is this? Forbes auto is weird. And you keep doing it, but people have been complaining that the higher levels are too hard. And I have seen some YouTubers I watch, like Delirious and Cartoons. I did notice when they tried to do the higher level stuff, even when they had high levels, they would get absolutely stomped on. And even after a large-scale buff patch, it's not really moving the needles. Now, it does talk about how there was a brief spike when a mass automaton invasion happened. I believe that is right here in June. You can see there's the downward decline, then there's the automaton thing. And then it went back to the normals of declines. Interest fell after a week, and it's shedding players. Now, remember, this is a PvE live service game. And that's not just the format, that is the monetization of it. Because they keep saying the Illuminati will arrive at some point, and that's not going to cost anything to participate in. In addition, Helldivers 2 has one of the most player-friendly monetization systems out there, with premium currency easy to earn in-game. Great for us, but not ideal for Sony, where the entire point of this format is significant recurring revenue, and even less ideal with 90% fewer players than at launch. Now, Helldivers 2 is not a failure because, like he said, it's got really player-friendly monetization, and people have been buying the game. They've sold lots of copies. But this is just not the trajectory we want. Now, here's the part that I thought he really made a good sense on. The game has not been among PlayStation's top 10 most played lists in a long time, as that list remains almost entirely years-old live hits. Fortnite, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto Online, Overwatch 2, and Roblox, and that Sony wants their own live game to be big on their platform, but it was always bigger on Steam, which brings us to the thing that he doesn't talk in the article, but that we all know that happened. Because of some kind of weird glitch technical limitation, Sony did not require you at launch to make a PSN account and log in through it. They just let it be on Steam. But when they tried to take that away and say, hey, you have to have a PSN, players stopped going and they revolted. And it was good that they went back on it and said, okay, we're not actually going to do that. The problem is the damage is done by then. Not to mention, Sony did take it off of areas that do not have access to the PlayStation Network, cutting off potentially hundreds of thousands of players from getting to log in and play the game. Now, this was originally posted on 6/29, but on 6/30, he talks about the positive and negative traction, and he is responding to the feedback, and he thinks that this post from a guy from Power World, Bucky, is really, really important. Please stop getting baited into player number arguments on Discord, Twitter, and Reddit. I see you guys in the comments, and it's really sweet of you to want to stand up for Power World, which has also had a huge player drop-off. It's a little more understandable that because that game is still in beta and is not finished. So, they're going to release a patch and players are going to come in, but you're not going to be able to play for too long because the game's nowhere near finished. But it's super not worth your time. Those posts are pure engagement bait. 99% of them are just basically, well, that's not very nice to say, desperate for a post to do numbers. And the 1% is just the media doing what media do. Power World had 2 million, then it had 15,000, now it has 140,000. It's not something to get angry about. In a few weeks it'll go down again, and next major update, it'll go up. That's just how it works. Power World could have literally one person playing it, and that won't take away from the fact that you played a fun game and have fun memories of it. Now, the author says, yeah, he's pretty sure he's at 1% there. And that was sparked in part by his pair of pieces and talking about Helldivers numbers continually dropping, and that Power World saw a big surge with the expansion. Now, as the author says, it's a different scenario when Sony is trying to find long-term significant success with a live game. Live games are hard, guys. And Helldivers 2 current model of minor additions and new gear to spend medals on has not moved the needle. There's no roadmap, unlike other live games. If there is truly no major expansion coming, he's not sure if it will turn around. It's not a necessarily bad opinion of it. The game is not even settled at concurrent player count, as it's still sliding. I reject the idea that it's not important to talk about player count numbers, especially in the context of a burgeoning live service game. I agree it's stupid when we do this for single-player games with no ongoing components or significant in-game, unless it's the other direction, like how it's amazing so many people are still playing Baldur's Gate 3. Then he's going to talk about Suicide Squad, which I noted debuted with half as many players as Avengers, and soon after was averaging just a few hundred players on PC a day and dropping off all console lists. That was a major story, just like I think tracking Helldivers 2 is a story for Sony. And while I very much classified Suicide Squad as a failure, which it is, I am not saying the same for Helldivers 2 at all. Just that I don't really see a coherent plan to stop its current declines, and much of the feedback was explaining why there are indeed so many players leaving. Mostly that format has grown stale, and there were too many nerfs. Many may have quit before a recent mass buff patch. But overall, the trend looks like a delayed version of a single-player release, which is not what you want to see for a live game. So yeah, this looks like a really fun single-player game, and there's no shame in it because you spend the money, you play the game, and you're done. And maybe you play DLC or expansions or sequels. But yeah, this is really good if you're a single-player game. But Helldivers 2 is not. Sony made terrible mistakes, and I guess they just weren't prepared for the success of it, and then they just did not know what to do with it, and they accidentally chose the wrong thing. I feel bad because I have a lot of people I know and watch online that loved Helldivers 2 and have just fallen off because it's not fun at higher levels, and it's just not feasible at higher levels. And you don't have anything to look forward to. Is this Illuminate coming or not? Is it going to be a fourth and a fifth faction? There's no roadmap or letting you know. And that's kind of fun in a way because it, just like the war it's trying to mimic, it's always a surprise. But you've got to keep the players engaged. So do I think Helldivers 2 is going to die out? I hope not. It's really cool. I want more Jonathan Young songs. I just hope that Helldivers 2 gets its stuff back together and can finally get players back into the game, because this right here is just a nice power fantasy that we really want. And games are fun, and we deserve fun. You deserve to play a game like Helldivers 2 and have a good time with it. And you know what else you can do? You can play more games, because games are awesome and you deserve awesome. You do deserve Helldivers 2. I just hope that it remains awesome and Sony doesn't screw it up anymore by taking it out of more regions and cutting player counts. But guys, I'll see you next time.